Hello again, viewers. Welcome to another episode of The N.O.W Show, your show for overcomers and winners and going on that journey. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing an interesting topic which came about as a feedback, and it's discipline and abuse. Where do we draw the line? And to join me is my sister, my friend, who, when they reached out to us, they wanted her to come back to shed light on this topic. Mrs. Charity Babatunde.
It's always an absolute pleasure to be on the N.O.W Show. Thank you, Bosse, for having me back
Thank you,
again.
Charity.
Thank you.
Charity Ladi Babatunde is a certified senior professional in human resources and is the founder of Revital and a pioneer digital intelligence quotient ambassador in Africa. Through her social enterprise, Revital, and her YouTube program, What We Wish Our Parents Knew, her books, A Niger Parent's Guide to Having the Talk, Sex and More, and a Niger Parent's Guide to Having the Talk, Drugs and Substance Abuse, and her blog, parentinvestment.com. Charity continues to impact the lives of thousands of children, teens, and emerging adults, and provide invaluable tips for parents and parent figures as the parent in this digital age. Married with two amazing young adults who have equipped her with the much needed practical experience for this wonderful journey of parenting. Charity is passionate about seeing Nigeria become more of a society where success is driven by values. You know, like I said to them, you have this passion for families, especially. I always say that you have, and it was, this came from, the episode we did together before on parenting. And it's about, young people reaching out to us and parents also reaching out to us. And we found out that, looking at it, it's like the threshold of the young people is quite low nowadays. And they're blaming the parents for things that they're going through, and they're saying that, oh, the parents abused me and things like that. And parents are saying, no, all we tried to do was train them, was discipline them. So we said, okay, Charity, please come back.
Okay,
so discipline and abuse. Where do we draw the line?
Interesting. Topic, like I said, very interesting.
Yes.
But my first question would be, what is abuse? When you say abuse, are you talking of I insulted you? Or are you talking of physical abuse or emotional abuse?
I think...
Because again, it will depend on the age range of the children that we're talking about.
Okay.
Somehow I get a sense that you're talking about teens, young adults.
Yes.
And because they are the ones who we can even have any right to say, okay, their threshold is low.
Can I shock you, Charity? That even the little ones are actually going to school
and saying I was abused.
That I was abused by my mother and my father. So it's
interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
So even the little ones.
So when you say discipline abuse, where do you draw the line? The first thing will be, I think it's important we understand what abuse is and what the objective of an abuse is. When you abuse somebody, it presupposes that there is an intention to cause harm.
And no parent wants to cause harm.
And no sane parent wants to cause harm. Unfortunately, there are some. Unfortunately, there are some who, due to one reason or the other, may actually want to inflict harm, and that's why you hear of people saying they drove their children off a cliff and set it and things like that. Yes. Fortunately, we don't hear too much of those kinds of stories this side of the planet.
No, but we're hearing those kind of stories. Things
rather
are getting more bizarre.
Rather unfortunately.
You and I know children are committing suicide. Their parents who would just walk away from the home and leave the children,
right.
And things like that. So they're things that didn't used to happen before
that are beginning to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a point there. I must give that to you. But again, like I say, we're still a bit more fortunate than the number of places where you hear all kinds of bizarre stories.
Right.
So abuse presupposes that there is an intention to inflict harm. Now, with discipline, the motive usually is to say, how can I correct?
Yes.
How can I train? How can I make sure that my child, more often than not, makes choices that would, at the end of the day, help them become better people who are useful not just to themselves, but to any society that they find themselves in.
Yes.
So the first point of where you draw the line will be to check your motives as a parent.
Okay.
Do you want to cause pain? Do you want to correct? Now, if you want to correct, it then means that you need to go back and understand your child. Who is your child? Because it is in understanding your child that you know what method you can use best to correct that child. It's just like teaching. There are different teaching methods because children's ability or people's ability, let's not even talk about children, people's ability to learn differs. And there are certain people who are better at learning in a particular way. So as a parent, when you do decide that you want to discipline your child, do you understand that child well enough to know what methods to use? You talked about the resilience of the children being low. You know, I've often been accused of being an advocate for young people. Truth of matter is that I love them.
You are.
Oh, well, I mean, I have 2 young adults, and I've had to learn a lot about them to be able to make sure that I know, you know, when they say no this and no peace, I've had to spend time trying to study them. I'm not there yet, but I'm making a lot of, I'm putting in a lot of effort. And the truth of the matter is that with the young people, it's important that you understand that the dynamics are totally different from when we were growing up. Society is totally different. The things that they have, look, the chances of you graduating and getting a job was at the very least 80% back in the day. Now the chances of you graduating and getting a job is about 10 or less percent. That alone is enough pressure. You went to school, you were not worried that you will be sexually harassed by a lecturer. You were not worried.
We were sexually harassed.
Well, but Bosse, it wasn't as rampant.
Well,
it wasn't as rampant. Cultism wasn't as rampant and as overt.
Yes, I think everything has kind of gone overboard.
Yes, everything has. So those are some of the pressures that they have to deal with. Again, we were not exposed to, the internet was not there. You know, and even if we were able to get information, it wasn't as it's readily available. Where you know that there are options. You know that, okay, I do not necessarily have to go to school to blow. And I don't have to do anything illegal to blow. So when they feel that pressure is coming, they then begin to, is it really worth it? Because I've seen people who have gone through all this pressure and they are still not blown. And I've seen people who have not gone through it and have blown. Then again, they also say that as parents, we want them to be very performative. That we want them to do a lot of eye service and keep performing. And guess what, Bosse? Performance it puts you under pressure. So it gets to a stage where you decide, I want to be true to myself. I'm not going to perform anymore. And I want to be me and own me and do what I want to do me. And in doing me, all they're looking for, all our children are looking for is peace. Because they're living in a world that is consistently telling them that they're not good enough. And it is bad when you then get home. And what my father or mother is doing in the name of discipline is further reinforcing the fact that I'm not good enough. I want to find a place where I know that, look, I'm not there yet, but they acknowledge and recognize that I am good enough. And yes, there's room for improvement. I remember having a conversation with a young adult. And I was talking to him, you know that, look, the rate of suicide amongst young people is high. And I don't understand. Look, can't you people even think of us, your parents, the kind of pain that we would feel knowing that our child took their lives? And you know what he said to me? He said, look, clearly we're not thinking on the same wavelength. Because you see, the peace that I feel that I would feel by ending it all is much deeper and much more attractive than the hurt that I will inflict on you.
Wow.
I'll take that again, because when my absolute reaction when he said it, that the peace that anybody who takes his life, that the peace that he or she feels that he or she would feel by ending it all is a lot stronger than the hurt that they feel they will inflict on you. And they will go for the path of peace anytime.
Deep.
It is deep.
And it is scary.
It is.
It is really scary. It is. Because if they're looking at something like ending their lives as peace, and the pain of the parent does not matter, because it's actually deep pain inflicted on that kind of home.
But guess what? What they're saying to you is that deep pain that I'm inflicting you is the deep pain that I'm trying to run away from. is the deep pain that that is being inflicted on me, knowingly or unknowingly, by your actions, by you letting me know that I'm not good enough, despite the fact that I'm putting in my best effort. Yes, I know that I'm making poor choices, but you keep inflicting deep pain on me because you are
reminding me of those poor choices. Yes, and you know, which is where, you know, and you speak to a parent. Your child or your children make your poor choices, like you call them. Why do you need to remind them of those poor choices, or throw it at their face, or keep going on and on and on about the poor choices? And I need to train the child. I want the child to become a better person.
So that's where your question about abuse and discipline. Remember what we said about abuse. You are inflicting pain. Discipline, you are trying to guide. You need to be emotionally in touch with yourself and with your child to know when you are inflicting pain. And it will show.
But what parents call discipline, the children tend to be abused. That's the problem.
But the reason why is because of the pain that is being inflicted on the person that is the recipient of that thing that you call discipline. So what it means is that if a child reacts, right?
So the parent needs to understand that you're not only inflicting pain, maybe when you beat,
boss, you want to beat a 20-year-old.
You can't beat a 20-year-old,
or 29-year-old. No. So there's emotion. So when a child commits suicide, they haven't inflicted physical pain on you now. It's emotional pain. So why is it that you feel that your own emotional pain is deeper than the emotional pain that you are causing me by telling me that I'm not good enough? Can't I see my mates? Can't I see my siblings? Simply, yes, it is a big deal that I did not graduate, or I did not graduate with the grades that you wanted, or I did not pursue a career that you wanted. But by constantly telling me that, you are inflicting deep pain. And I want to run away from you. Unfortunately, for some, that run away is either I move out of the house, and for some, it's I just end it all. Because again, beyond that, maybe a lot of other things that they're dealing with. Yes, you're dealing with the home front. And then you now go out on social media. And on social media, you're also dealing with people saying, you post something and they say, this person looks very ugly. Why? What is wrong with you? And they post, all manner of savage comments. And you just look and say, one day, you wake up on that one day where you feel that, look, is it really worth it? This pain is too much now. Let me just sleep and not wake up again. And do something and end it all. Am I saying it's an excuse? No. What can parents do to change it? The truth of the matter is that it will depend again on the age of the child. Because really and truly, we cannot blame ourselves for poor choices that our children make. Especially as they grow older. And Bosse, suicide is a poor choice. But does that mean then as parents we just fold our hands and say, okay, well, there's nothing we can do? No. I've mentioned the fact that we really need to understand our children. And can I be honest with you? It's not easy to sit down and say you want to understand a child, especially a child that does not want to be understood. Because any small thing, they say, you're invading my privacy. I need alone time. I want to be by myself. So how do you even foster that relationship, especially as the children grow older? For parents who have children that are maybe their late teens, young adults, don't lose hope, because there's a tendency to feel that, look, maybe it's a bit too late.
Yes,
it would have been better if we had done what we needed to do. And fostered a relationship when they were much younger. But the truth of the matter is that all hope is not lost. What do we do? As your children get older, it is more important to be their friend. And this is something that is a bit alien to us. Because we interpret friendship as meaning you no longer have a right to discipline. Or to a right to do you would lose I don't know whether it's respect or the respect and reverence for that position, but it's not true. It's not true because, like I said, dynamics have changed.
I can discipline the child, while being the child's friend.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But always remember, when we talk about discipline, we're talking about correcting and guiding.
Yes.
So it is easier for you to correct a friend because that friend knows that you do not have any ulterior motive, which is where the problem comes with our children and us parents. They feel we always have an ulterior motive. And guess what that ulterior what they think that ulterior motive is? We always want to look good in the eyes of our peers at the detriment of how they are feeling. So we want to keep up appearances with our peers and everybody to say, this person, Mr. So-so-and-so raised a good child. Mrs. So-so-and-so raised a good child at the expense of this child that is being raised.
Every parent wants that, yes, that accolade.
So I agree with you, but at what expense? But at the expense of our children keeping up appearances and pretending to be who they really are not. Let me explain that. Because I'm not saying, okay, if they are not, if they are constantly making poor choices, they should not, they should pretend to be other people. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying, yes, it's important that we discipline them. But we also need, that peer pressure that we accuse our children of being susceptible to. We are susceptible to it. We want our friends to say, what did your child study? Studied engineering and went to so and so school and is doing this.
My child came out with the first class.
My child came out with the first class, and things like that. We want all that. Is it good? It's good to have. It's nice to have. But what about the pressure on that child? I was talking to a young girl, I think she must have been about 21 then, and she was a trophy child.
Okay.
She had been excelling in everything. I don't know whether I've talked about it before.
No. She was going to say that.
She was a trophy child.
Contribute to it because right from primary school, there's so much competition. Oh, this one is a star child. This one is a trophy child.
Absolutely.
This one is this.
Absolutely.
So from then,
the
as
pressure,
little as that,
you're already inflicting pressure on them.
Yes.
So there's also that little fear that, okay, I'm getting a lot of validation. I'm getting a lot of attention. I'm getting a lot of praises because I am living up to expectations. What if one day, because inside them, they have their inadequacies. What if one day I drop the ball? What happens to me? I'm no longer that star child. It puts pressure because you have to keep performing. At a stage, you are tired. You just want to be normal. So that
you just want to be normal.
Yes. You just want, and normal is different for everybody.
Yes.
My normal is different from your. So after a while, it becomes, you know what? I have internalized this thing so much. I have tried to be who you want me to be. I'm tired. I want to be me. And then the one day that they show a glimpse of the me, you are going the wrong way. You want to disgrace me. Who do you think you are? Why are you behaving like this? You're a bad child, as they would say, and things like, and then it becomes a problem. So we need to be careful.
And the words we speak.
Oh, the major.
The words we speak.
In fact, sometimes the words we speak are, not even sometimes, a lot of times, the words that we speak
I guess that's why
heavier.
they call it abuse.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. And you're wondering, what have I done? Our parents, they conked us, Abi.
Yes.
And reset. We didn't know that there was anything called abuse. We just know that this person must be wicked. You can't be my mother. But in their own case, they are not even conking. Because how many of us really physically, discipline them? But the words that we speak mean so much, because remember, please, every parent that is listening to me, remember that one of your primary responsibilities is to constantly validate your children and make them know that they are enough. Saying that a child is enough does not mean that there is no room for improvement. There's a lot of room for improvement, but do not join the millions of other people that are telling them that they are never going to be good enough, never going to be thin enough, never going to be successful enough, never going to be rich enough, never going to be beautiful enough. Make sure that your home is a safe haven. I can't say it too many times. Your home must be a safe haven. It doesn't mean they will be your best friends. The truth of the matter is that if you have not cultivated that friendship from when they were young, it's a bit more difficult as they grow older, but it's not impossible. If you were talking to your friend, what would you say to your friend? How would you talk to your friend? I heard something that I will never ever forget. People never ever remember what you do or what you say, but they remember how you make them feel. Your words to your children, how does it make them feel? Does it make them feel inadequate? Does it make them feel inferior? Does it make them feel confident? Does it make them feel that, look, I can handle anything? Because this resilience that we're talking about, that there is low, could it be a reflection of some of the things that we said? So when we say you are not responsible, you are responsible for your own actions and the things you say. However, it's possible that you can say all the right things and your child still makes poor choices. But at least you will know that whatever you're doing, you are constantly. This world is tough now. Growing up in this world is tough. Adulting is hard. It is very, very, very hard. Adulting is hard. And they want to be adults. They want to be, again, they also feel that what gives us the right to talk to them anyhow is because they are financially dependent on us. So they are struggling to be financially independent. And in that struggle, they're beginning to realize that there's a lot of pressure that comes with it, especially in this. So, I mean, the issue of where do we draw the line? Discipline adults. Discipline and abuse. As a parent, it's important that you check this thing that I'm doing. You will know now. You will know when you are beginning to inflict pain, whether it is emotional or physical. That's the time to say step back. You will know when you are beginning to look. One of the things that one of those young people that I talk to, and I have a lot of them that I talk to, and if you're a young person that is listening to this show today, please reach out to the Now Show. If you really, really, really need somebody to talk to, I'm available.
That's right.
I'm available to talk, because I know sometimes you just want to be heard. And I remember one of the young people that I was talking to, because I have quite a number of them, that I honestly, absolutely love talking to them. And I remember he said to me that...
And we parents think that you're always on their side.
I know. But the truth of the matter is I'm on the side. I know, but Pastor, I've gotten that a lot. And the truth of the matter is that I'm on the side for progress.
Definitely.
But guess what? I also believe very strongly that you stoop to conquer. So we're the ones who know what we want. I also know that it is very unlikely that we will change in our ways, right? It's very unlikely, not because we don't want to, but sometimes we just feel, I mean, why should I be the one changing? But we're the ones that, at the end of the day, there's a goal for parenting. Parenting is to raise our children so that they become people that are useful, not just to themselves, but to any society they find themselves in. So if that means sometimes I have to stoop to conquer, if it means sometimes I have to say, look, you know what? Okay, maybe I should have done this thing differently, because what are the options? Do you want to leave your child to internet stories? Or you want to leave your child to another young adult who is also making poor choices to help? So at the end of the day, even God, our Father, still comes back to us. With his loving kindness, he draws us. With our loving kindness, we will draw our children. We have made mistakes when we were growing up. Yes, some of those mistakes we may be ashamed to let our children know that, look, so these are some of the poor choices that we have made ourselves. But we should never ever make them feel that simply because they have made a decision that has resulted in failure means that they are failures. No, you can't write them off. Every other person is writing them off. You can't write them off. At the end of the day, guess what? Our children are still human beings. They still just want our love and our validation, and for us to tell them that, look, everything will be okay. Yes, as a parent, and guess what? Me talking, I have my own issues that I deal with. We have our quarrels and everything. But I learned something, and I say to people that my children, I have 2 young adults, 24 and 27. They're my guinea pigs, because I've learned, they have helped me in this parenting journey. They're my life examples. And there was a day we had a conversation that went on for about an hour plus. And at the end of the day, I had to ask them, I said, so what is it at this stage of your life? Because you seem to know it all.
You can have a 1-hour conversation with your young ones. A lot of parents can't do that.
In fact, it was because it was almost 1 a.m. that I told them I have work tomorrow. Let's say, and they said something to me that humbled me, but was very, very instructive. They said the only reason why we've sat down to have this conversation with you is because we consider you a friend.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
a mom, but a friend. They said if not, this conversation will last for 5 minutes.
Yes.
It will be over and done with.
Because you see that when they're friendly with you, they tell you a number of things, even about their friends and things. Yes.
And the fact that I'm their friend does not mean I don't get upset. It doesn't mean I don't quarrel. But even friends, don't you quarrel with your friends? Don't you get upset? But there's a way you settle it. What they do not like, and what nobody likes, is when the power, my son will say that power dynamics are tilted in your favor. But positionally, financially, it's already in your favor. So you are using it. What options do I have? So they already feel that, look, I've come to this relationship disadvantaged. And then you are now lording it over me. Yes, power is in your hands, as a parent and all that. But there's something called abuse of power.
I guess that's where the conflict comes in for both the parents and the children, because the parent doing that believe that they're training, right? And truly, if you look at the word discipline itself, is an all-encompassing word, because on one side you have that training, on another side you have punishment. So how do you balance training and punishment in such a way that the child does not now think it is abuse?
For me, the simple short answer would be always come from a position of love. With no ulterior motives. It's not about, I don't know whether your children have said to you, it's not about you. And I wonder, if it's not about me, who is it about?
Who is this about?
They say it's not your story to tell. I say, how have you disconnected yourself from me? That is not my story to tell. But guess what? At the end of the day, it really is not about me or about the child, but it's about love. 1 hour would not be enough for us to have this conversation. But if you always remember that love, remember what is love? Love is not about us. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is selfless. Love is long-suffering.
Yes.
And it's important that I make this point that love is long-suffering.
The children
but long-suffering. Long-suffering is not love.
Yes.
And so where we parents get upset is that we've suffered long, but we were not loving.
We've suffered long,
yes,
but we were not loving.
So if your motive is not love, you will get resentful. When you are resentful, there's what they call misplaced aggression. It then begins to cross the line from discipline to abuse. Because the pain that you have suffered from your children not appreciating the sacrifice, unfortunately, our men folk are more prone. Our fathers are more prone to feeling that resentment because they sacrifice as men. They've done a lot. They've worked. They've paid school fees. They've paid everything. They do work. Yes, mothers do a lot too. So, they come out feeling that, what? So they talk to their sons because they expect, you should know better. You should behave better. You should. And the child is saying, okay, I appreciate the fact that you've spent a lot of money on me. But that doesn't mean you should make me feel as if I'm useless. That doesn't mean you should put me under so much pressure. I don't know whether you read this. There's something else on social media last week where a man wrote a letter to his father that I hereby renounce my position as the firstborn. I no longer want to be referred to as your firstborn. I give it to my junior ones if they're interested, because the pain that being your firstborn is causing me is too much. The demands and the expectations that are placed on me are too much. But so you begin to wonder that where would this thing end?
That's right.
Where would it end?
Children divorcing parents are
totally.
So don't call it divorce.
Please,
they have a
that
name
from
for
today,
it.
I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable being known as your second or last born. I don't want to be your firstborn. It reminds me again of this statement that I've just made.
Yes.
That the peace that they feel they will feel by whatever action they take is a lot more important to them than the hurt that you will feel. The peace that I feel by saying I'm no longer your firstborn and relinquishing that right, plus everything that comes, every inheritance that comes with it, is a lot deeper to me than how you feel about the fact that I've decided that I don't want to be your firstborn. So when we look at the topic of abuse, discipline, where do you draw the line? At the end of the day, it's a motive thing. At the end of the day, it's deep. I can't tell you whether you're abusing your child. I can't tell you whether you've crossed the line.
Yes.
You need to be in touch with your emotions. You need to be in touch with your child. You need to understand the child's threshold. You need to understand the methods and the mechanisms that you would use in raising that child, because that's the objective of discipline, and guiding that child to become somebody that is useful to him or herself and to the society that they find themselves in. That's the only way forward.
Wow.
That's the only way forward.
Wow. In fact, it's like you've taken the last word already.
I'm sorry.
You know when you're used to something.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow, Charity, thank you so much. Once again,
thank you for having me, boss.
Especially, they have called, you have answered, because they wanted answers to these questions. So, I mean, my takeout from all of this is that, yes, discipline is two-legged. It's training, it's punishment, but what helps you to keep the line between the two, where the children see discipline becoming abuse, is love.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
Once love is there,
Absolutely.
then you do not cross over from that discipline to abuse.
Absolutely.
And we surely need to keep our families together.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have these children with us as our friends, whether they're very young or whether they're preteens or whether they're adults. At the end of the day, we need to draw the line. There's discipline, there's abuse. Let the child not feel like they are being abused. They should see us as their friends and see us as loving them. So until we come your way again on the Now Show, we do hope that you will go out there and be a better parent, and you, the children, you'll be better children, and we all can be winners and overcomers. So Charity,
thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Don't forget to like this video, and if you haven't, subscribe to the Now Show channel today and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss any video that is uploaded. Thank you for watching.